Hey, YouTubers, Tasman here, bringing you another episode of Tasman's Foundry Virtual Tabletop version 13 from the ground up. And really quick, I need to. Is someone else saying something like that? So yeah, really quick, I needed to check my comments. I wasn't sure if it was on this one or not. Yes, actually it is. So, in the last episode, apparently my gain on my microphone got bumped and it looks like it was turned down. So hopefully I've turned it back up and hopefully it's loud enough. Unknown Comic 4107 says you need to up the volume. I have max volume settings and wearing a headset and you're still quiet. So hopefully this improves that. If you guys just leave me a comment to let me know if it does or doesn't, it'd be great. Let's see. Let's see what else. I think that's about it. Um, all right, so let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to do this time, which I'm sure you know because you've seen the title of the video. But before we do that, I kind of want to go through the list because there's going to be a lot that we can still do, but I want to save some of the other modules that aren't necessarily D&D or Pathfinder. They're system agnostic for when we do the Pathfinder 2e system. So not everything here will we be doing. I mean, it looks like we still have like 5e custom abilities we could go over, which lets you add abilities and skills that you want to also track on your sheet and stuff. Any others that are 5e automated conditions, that is an older version. I definitely want to go over Cauldron of Plentiful Resources. I talked a little bit about that earlier. I think even in the last, when we were doing our automated animations, that there's another one that actually will let you do it. It will tell you which ones and how many things on a character needs to be updated, and then it can actually do it. So that's this one right here. I believe there are two dependencies that work with that one. Let's see any others that are specific to 5e. Custom 5e, that's an old one. We've already done the D&D Beyond importer, which apparently I think they've changed it where you can't freely import your character from D&D Beyond. You actually have to have even the Patreon for that. So this one technically, I guess, isn't so much a free one anymore. I might have to look more into that and see if I was missing something. Active lights, it's old. All these are old by DF. I hope DF actually, which I'm assuming is DFreds, but I'm hoping that they actually update a bunch of those because some are really nice. Obvious settings. Obviously, these are the official and they definitely cost money, but they're they were there. I don't remember why I had them there. Uh, I think when I copied all my files over, actually, these are the official books. So they definitely cost money. So we won't be going over those. Went over that. Find the culprit we went over. Force. I'm just looking. I'm not seeing. I guess we could do Chris's compendium. This is just simply a compendium. It's really doesn't matter that it's 12. I mean, it looks like 13,351, which this one should say it's good. But it's just compendium. We'll go over that as well. And there's also one that matches for Pathfinder 2e, which we'll go over. There is Loot Sheet NPC. That says it's a newer one. I'll have to look and see how that one. I don't use that one very much anymore. But we can look at that as well. Module management is outdated. A lot of monk stuff. It's weird these Pathfinder ones show up in here. A lot of Pathfinder stuff shows up in here. Did we do physical? I think we did physical dice rolls. And it actually shows the icon now. I can show you that real quick. But I believe we already did physical dice rolls. I'll have to go look at that. Pop out portal. Da, da, da. Writable. Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot more that are specifically, I mean, tidy sheets. I think we looked at that one. We've actually enabled that. It just makes a nicer sheet. Not so big, if you ask me. It's a little more compact. And Vision 5E we can do. But this one, we're actually going to do this right here called Token Variant Art. There it is. So we're going to talk about this one. This is one that I've used quite a bit when I'm well, technically I was a player and I set up the table for the GM and kind of taught him how to do it. But this was one I found kind of handy. One, it lets you change on the fly your token, which can be kind of cool. You know, you can put away your swords or, you know, go into sneaky mode if you're stealthing or something like that. And one really handy thing that this one did, I might as well restart it while we're talking, is in the campaign I'm talking about with my character. I was a rogue named Brick, and his last name was Hindegrass. Anytime anyone ever said brick, someone in the group always said house, like the song. Um, so I kind of gone through to make sure this actually works in here. Hopefully it doesn't screw up. I guess we'll find out. Um, but what token variant art does is allows your players to actually change that. And what I was saying is we had another player that was playing a Lodrin. I believe a ranger. You know, and Eladrins, they have their different, I don't know what they call them. Their seasons, I guess. There's so an Eladrin, when they wake up, they can choose whether they're going to be summer, winter, I think it's autumn and spring. And each of those, whichever one they choose, makes it so their default kind of special ability is different on how it actually reacts. And so with this one, I had the person go and create a whole bunch of their tokens. They just went to, I think it was Hero Forge, and created a token and then went to a top-down view. And then I just used Photoshop or a photo editor and actually cut them out so that we could have her switch those how she wanted. So with this one, this is I also did it in Hero Forge. And I have a rogue, and I created him so that one, like if he's just going and talking to people, he's not holding weapons all the time. And then if he's sneaking, he's kind of crouching and has I don't think he has his bow on his back, but he's just sneaking. He's not really got his weapons out. And then also I have him with his weapons out. So 3 different states for that token. So now that we have it installed, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my token, and I'm going to go over a couple things really quick on how the token variant art works, or at least part of it. There's a whole lot to this module, and we're not even going to really graze the surface. So as you can see here, this is a top-down image of Brick from, well, I guess from above, top down. And you can see that he's wearing the dark colors. He's not wearing a hood or a cloak or anything like that. No weapons in his hands and anything like that. So this is his portrait. If we go into here and go to prototype token, this is where we can actually set what his token actually looks like. So under appearance, we have what his appearance is. Now, the way the token variant art works is it bases it off of the name that's right here. So whatever his name is here is going to be where it's going to look for any art that has that kind of a name in it. It uses kind of fuzzy logic, I guess, to pull it up. So if we go in here, I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and you'll see I've actually created an assets folder inside our D&D 5e mods directory where our actual world is. and then I created an asset, and then I created the one called token, and then I created a brick, and then I copied my 3 images of brick up there. I'm going to change this so we can actually see his pictures nice and large, well, kind of large. So here you can see here he has his little, I guess, short sword and a dagger out, and you can see the bow on his back. So this is when he's in combat, right? This one right here, he's just kind of ready for combat. This is how he would be kind of walking through a dungeon. And then of course we have just, you know, casual appearance, maybe at a an inn or a tavern or something like that. So we have these images, and I'm going to set his default image. And technically it's not really default, but we're going to go ahead and just choose that one. And the other thing I did, and I might even make him bigger, maybe we're going to change his scale to 3. So he's nice and big on the screen. Normally this is scale is set to 1, which is the token is basically, its scale is 1. I don't know how to describe that. So we're going to go ahead and take our brick here because he's kind of small, and we're going to put him out. So you can see he's actually a fairly large token here. And what we can do is you can set it up so your players should be able to see this. I forgot to actually launch my player. That's okay. So like I can right click on this and I'll get this little icon down here, which is our token variant art. And if we zoom in a little bit and go to that, you'll see if we click it, we have all 3 of those images. Now, once we have our token out here, we can actually kind of get an idea of what images are going to be in there, because what token variant art is going to do, like I said, is going to look at the name of the token, the prototype token, which is brick here. And now that we're on the table, I'm not sure why it doesn't do it off the table. Like if we go into this prototype token of the character sheet, it doesn't show up. But once it's on the table, we can actually do it here. And you'll see we actually also have this one that's called select variant. So we can come in here and actually select our variant. And you can see here that it has found those 3 bricks. So I have brick toke 1, brick toke 2, brick toke 3. And those are the 3 variants of our art that we have, right? So we can go ahead and here we can choose it, you know, and then it will update the token. But now that we know that it actually sees those 3 bricks, we can also see that it shows those 3 bricks in here. And then let's say, okay, we're entering a dungeon. We're no longer super casual. Now we're wearing our cloak and stuff, right? We are no longer, I can't do that. There we go. So now you can see we're giant, but we're just going into the thing. And of course it works with the automatic turning and all that. No reason why that wouldn't. And then when we're actually going into combat or whatever, we can go ahead once again and switch our character. And now we have out our sword and our dagger. So it just adds a tiny bit of immersion. This is nothing that would be considered, oh, you need this. It doesn't automate as far as I know. But in a nutshell, that's basically what it does, is allows your players to actually select various token art. And we'll talk about it just one second. I keep clicking on this little gear thinking it's going to take me to settings. It doesn't. It's this one now. This takes me to the settings of token mold. So if we go here, we click on configure settings, we scroll all the way down to token variant art. There are 4 things in here. We're not going to go fine tooth comb through everything. We're going to very quickly graze over them, because what I use this usually for is my own tokens. You can actually have it so like if you have variant states of goblins, or if you have Forgotten Adventures, that's what it's called. If you have Forgotten Adventures, you can actually you know, it will look at the different goblins and say, okay, these are all goblins. And then when you drag it out, you can actually have it so set so that it will just randomize which image it uses for each of the goblins, once again for immersion. But I really don't do that one myself much. So let's go ahead and look at the different things. So obviously we have an import export, nothing really big here. We can import a file or export to a file our settings basically. We have the compendium manager here. So we click on this. This is where you're setting up, where your different compendiums are. So you want your default compendium is the DDB monsters compendium in this case. Select and unlock compendium to form mappings on it. To be honest, I don't do much with this at all. I pretty much out of the box just use it as it is. So I don't have a whole ton of stuff to tell you about this. Then we have override image category. And that one doesn't even click. Ignore token. So missing images. Only include image documents with missing images. So I'm assuming this means that you can say what to use for the missing image. So if there is a missing image, instead of just having the tiny, like a web browser that draws the tiny little square up there with the little picture icon, you can actually say, okay, just use this for missing images, which is the mystery man icon, right? Show current images in the art select window. I'm thinking that is when you right click and maybe that's the art select window. I don't know. Search settings. This is how it can actually search and where it searches. So as you can see in this is what I have so that it'll find brick. It looks in worlds, D&D, assets and tokens, and that will be, so I might have a directory for brick or for all my players, and then all the different tokens that they might send me. All I have to do is put them in their individual thing, give them the name, or make sure that the name follows the name of the actual token, and it should actually work fine there. You have your search filters, search algorithms. Like I said, I don't do much of any of that stuff. The Token Hub client settings. So this is basically just setting the opacity and stuff. And then the real meat of the system is right here under settings. This is where you can set up your search paths once again, kind of like we did down there, where you can say where it's going to do its searching. Like I used to have, because now I use the FA Nexus, I think is what, the Nexus, the FA Nexus. I don't have to have the, what is it, like 10 gigs or something like that of tokens the Patreon Forgotten Adventures Patreon members can actually get. So that's kind of a bittersweet thing, because one, it automatically searches through like 3,000 tokens and kind of gets them, slows down the system a fraction, not much at all. It even runs in the background, so it's not going to do anything. But in this case, I could actually create another one and say, well, for any of the tokens that I end up doing, I'm going to add a new one. We're going to go ahead and set the path to be, let's go out of here all the way down to where our assets are. And we know that there is the FA Nexus tokens. So we could actually say that this is one. And then any tokens that we actually download through the FA Nexus would be also available to us. Here's our search filters again, our search algorithms. This is the randomizer that will actually choose random tokens and stuff like that. Like I said, I really don't use any of that. Whoops, I didn't mean to close it though. So now you see it actually found 4, because I think we have 1 token inside here. So let's continue on randomizer. We have, this is the pop-up. So you can set it so that when you drag a token out, it will always pop up a window saying, choose the art or something like that, or you can have it not do that. I usually don't have it do that. There is a key, I believe it's either Controller Shift when you're dragging a token out, that it will not try and generate random art if the randomizer is in there. Then of course there's the permissions. This part right here is what will make it so I believe your players are able to choose their own. If you don't have at least player permission to access the token at HUD button, then they probably won't be able to actually do it. Some of these others you might play with to see if it's something they need. I don't recall them needing any of that. The token HUD itself, this is information on the token. This is where I click the little picture thing and then it showed the 3 images and I choose those. You can see those settings. Once again, like I said, I don't use any of this. Then under our effects, I don't see anything that I really play with on any of that either. And then finally we have misc here, or miscellaneous, where it looks like it's keeping its cache. Play videos on, yeah, I don't use any of this either. So like I said, I don't use this a whole ton for mobs and stuff. I do find it kind of fun for players to be able to do it. Maybe if I had special NPCs, like maybe a guard or something like that, if they're getting hostile with the players because they're being annoying, maybe switch, you know, from them being in a standing position to with a sword and shield out or something like that. But mostly I use it just for this, for being able to access our player tokens. Not sure why it turns this magenta color. I wonder if it has anything to do with this. Let's see. I mean, maybe that's just saying, hey, this is the one that's selected. By the way, I couldn't figure out what these 2 things do. I click on them, they don't do anything. So if you guys find anything out about that, I want to try this really quick and then we're going to call it good for this episode. So I'm going to get rid of, let's go ahead and just switch it over maybe to a nice tealish color. Something like that. I want to see if that's what that is. Oh, I didn't hit OK, did I? I'm so good at closing things without hitting OK. Let's see. So if we go over here, and I guess 255. There we go. Then save player configuration. Now if I click on them, will it be a bluish color? Maybe I have to refresh. All right, this is the last thing we're gonna do. I am not sure where the pinkish hue or the magenta hue comes from. I'm thinking it might be this based off of what the color of the player is. Let me close you. Found its 4 images. Very nice. All right, let's see if I'm wrong. Clearly I'm wrong. I don't know what it is. So I think that will do for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Subscribe. I don't know why I can't see that either. I did do that right. Yeah, comment, like, subscribe, click that little notification bell. Join my Discord channel. Tell other people about my YouTube channel. Check it out. If they like what they see, they can sub. We grow the channel. Everybody wins. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.